late afternoon, at the end of the sky bridge, this terrifying, razor-thin, invisible bridge over really high over the Sky River. You just made it. I think we see Saffron looking back hazily where, because beach lies, Nida just gave Hamish a big hug and a wet kiss. You see to the south of you these three gigantic towers on mossy cliffs. I think if we look at the map, to the north is are more woods. They don't look like the hair woods where you passed through, but they look they're these trees with like dagger sharp needles. And ahead of you lies, the road to the east. What do you do?
Should we head onwards and see if we can find these beavers?
That's a great idea. And I get up off of Hamish.
So you are riding the Redlander auto wagon, which looks surprisingly like a little bit like a apocalyptic truck with a flatbed. Who's driving? I think Nida was driving over the bridge.
Oh hell yeah! Somebody else can drive. I'm not driving anymore. Not for a little bit.
Should we say Azure? Unless Saffron, I feel, is not quite.
I was not entirely comfortable working the pedals with my expandable chipmunk legs.
Well, you do reach the pedals with your expendable legs, so that's a plus. Yeah. And we have to.
I wouldn't be able to.
Mm-hmm. And you also have opposable thumbs, so you can also hold a wheel if need be.
I can be backup driver in case everything else fails.
Mm-hmm.
We sent Vigo on with the rest of the caravan, correct?
Yes, it's just Austin's.
And Babeth? Or did we send Babeth on?
We've only got Austin's with us.
Yeah. Okay.
Austin's can drive.
we got Azure. She's been doing great so far.
Mm-hmm,
Wide up on Golden Amber.
She barely fits in the cab.
Yeah,
look at her.
That is also true. So she tries to squeeze in, and she looks like a really big bus driver or something, and then she says, "No, I can't," and goes back to the flatbed doing push-ups.
Fair. Then Austin drives us, I suppose.
Yeah, which is also funny because, as you remember, Austin's has these like numerous false limbs that I don't know how he operates them. There's these levers and latches and everything. So he has three arms on the wheel, but they are all fake arms attached to his torso. All right, and so. An old road traverses the lower spines from Skybridge to Boulder Fort. And when you reach the area, it is, I think, probably in the evening. It takes some time. Let me see on the map. It would probably take even, let's say you drive until you reach the Teal River, and it's evening by then. And in the dying light, you can see the following. So there's the Teal River itself. If you stand on the shore, you can see that there's this striking blue color. It looks almost fake, almost as if it's paint rather than water. And there's nowhere that you can no way that you can see to cross the Teal River at the point where you are. However, so the road itself makes a bend to the north. You can also see that in the water itself there are 3, and they are called postmodernist boulders with carved faces in them. So every boulder has one face carved into it multiple times. They're these gigantic things. And the weird thing is that the face gets, like the carving gets more serrated, the further you read. So you have like the normal face, like it's the face of, it looks like a sage or something with a beard. And then there's a copy of that, and that looks a bit squiggly, and another face that is a bit more abstract still, and so forth. And actually, let me make a roll. Hold on. To see if something is happening. I rolled a 1. So my first question to maybe Hamish is, what makes these boulders postmodernist?
I mean, I think you've asked the wrong person, because what does make something postmodern? Especially to Hamish in the Rainbow Lands.
Somebody can chime in, I don't know.
What makes them postmodern is that they are rocks that have been carved to look like rocks. So they are not actual boulders that run in the stream. They are a simulacrum. They are the hyperreal. They are not the real thing. They are a representation of the real thing, pretending to, treat it as though they are the real thing. It's
more like sculptures pretending to be boulders.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Nice. And so in the light is actually dying right now. It's disappearing behind the horizon, and you see the looming near moon to the south of you. But you can also first see some kind of, over one of the 3 boulders, there is there's like a mirage in the air, and it looks a little bit like like a dead channel, like this weird dots, and the weird dots, they start to form a shape, and first you have this white noise, and out of the white noise there comes like a striking sad song, while the figure is not solidifying, but more taking the shape of one of these heads. And I think I need to make another roll to see what the song says. Give me a sec. Oh yeah. So how are the 3 of you reacting to this weird ghostly apparition?
Unsling the fractal blade.
Okay.
What do you make of this then?
It is the lyrics are in Old Steppish. I'm not sure, like the language of the nomads. I don't know if any one of you speaks that. Or it could mean, I mean, if you could argue, I don't know if Saffron has like a program installed, if one of your spells could maybe decipher this.
I think Hamish knows how to order a drink, where's the toilet, and swear in every language that we come across, and that's it.
I mean, Saffron is the wisest among us and has cybernetic prairie dog along with wisdom, so.
I mean, you're not wrong, but tend to do better if there's something machine-like
Yes.
in nature, as far as pulling things out of my ass.
If we're talking about Old Steppish, I mean, are we assuming it's something like English, where there's Old English, Middle English, and Modern
Yes.
English?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's old-fashioned nomad, so to speak.
Austin clearly speaks nomad, fluently. For those years that he spent with them in learning the old tongue.
I mean, we do get some training in languages as Scopes. Maybe he's smarter than I am, and it took better.
I make a fortune roll, which 6 he is fluent in Old Steppish. 4 and 5 he speaks a bit better than Hamish. I get a 5. So Austin's is listening to the song for some time, and then he says, "What a waste of time. Let's move on."
Well,
thank you, and no thank you. Cheers. What was the song about?
So Austin says it's some mawkish. What does mawkish mean?
Oh, like trite, like overly saccharine and sentimental.
Yeah.
Yes, like a sentimental, rather forgettable, probably like a folk song. You would, I don't know, maybe neither you would recognize this as a so-called radiation ghost.
As a what kind of radiation ghost?
A radiation ghost, a singing radiation ghost in this case.
I mean, I've probably seen a couple. I mean, hell, I might know people who became radiation ghosts because of what happened in the Yellowlands.
Exactly. And you do know that they have like limited ways of interacting with the real world.
And because they're radiation ghosts, their half-life is quite lengthy.
They are. So this ghost could be, 10,000s of years old.
And yet I can't understand what it's saying. And where is this radiation ghost? Was it on one of the rocks, did you say?
Yes, one of the 3 rocks, and the face seemed to resemble the face that is carved into the stone.
I wonder if these are tombstones.
But either way, I don't see how they. It might be lovely songs, but how's it going to help us cross the river?
It is quite dark in any case.
Maybe if we, we put a little bit up the river and see if we can find Boulder Fort and lay in for the night.
It's not a bad idea. I mean, we could camp here, but and I look over at Austin and say, I don't know, maybe the music could be annoying.
I think we should camp off the road, frankly.
Yeah, I for one prefer to not camp next to ghosts,
especially singing ghosts.
When you put it like that, you make a good argument, Saffron.
So do you stay where you are, but you move away from the road, or do you actually travel in the dark to the north? I mean, the truck does have some kind of lights, obviously.
Maybe like a little distance to see, just like a little range kind of thing. If it doesn't look like we're getting anywhere, we'll stop for the night. But like a peek around the corner over the hill kind of stuff to see what might be in front of us, because we'd feel like idiots if it was just around the corner.
That is true. So if you move north, you can see in the lights, in the headlights, that you also see that the Teal River is really wild. So as I said, crossing it where you are at the moment is impossible, even if you would try to swim or something. They swirl around these boulders. And after a relatively short way upstream, the landscape gets a bit wider, and you can see that the river's actually what's it called? It's kind of there is a dam. There's like this dam of lodged. It's called lodged. They're called steel pines. So pines made of steel and amalgamated dryland coral. This dryland coral that is one of the building material that is frequently used in the UVG, but like very colorful corals that you can make, grow in every shape or form you want. And that broken and rough dam sits in the middle of a pretty like muddy marshland to both sides. So you would have to drive to get to the dam. You would have to drive to this like really muddy part of the road, and it does look like it looks pretty hazardous, I would say, because they are lodged together, the steel pines, but still they're pines.
Maybe that was easier for the village, like the walking thing, because they could step as opposed to drive. But if that's the best way across, according to them, then we'll have to afford it, right? Like, but maybe in the daylight rather than at dark.
I am absolutely in support of not crossing rivers in the dark.
Yeah. Easy agreement.
And do you like, where would you sleep? On the flatbed, under the car, on the car, inside the cabin is maybe room for two. Do you really set camp, set watches, and so forth?
Are there trees around?
Yes, there are.
Any taller trees?
They're mostly like these steel trees, obviously steel pines, but there are also some weird looking, like they're called quicksilver birches. So they're birch trees, and the white part has this quicksilver quality to it.
Nice. I guess like watches, but just like a rough camp kind of. Yeah, like one of us is on the gun at all times, maybe another person hanging, like 2 on 2, because we got Austin's, Azure, us, 2 awake, everybody else resting, 2 awake situation.
I was asking about the trees because I was intending to kind of climb one and tie myself in so I'd have overwatch with my rifle, just so if anything started up, I could, pop it up and it's like pew pew.
Yeah. I think the steel pines, you will find a really tall one.
I just want to get like maybe 30, 40 feet up. No big.
Listen, don't roll over in your sleep.
Listen, Hamish, if I do and I roll the wrong way, just think of it as a new paint job for your armor.
All right, so you make a camp. I make one roll for the night and then see if something happens. Nothing happens. And so the next, I would assume that, so Nida, you spent the whole night up on the tree, is that correct?
Yeah, until it started getting toward dawn and I started, keep working my way down in the dawning light.
Yeah, you have a beautiful view on the on this kind of valley. I think when as always, when the sun comes up, the whole landscape is bathed into this ultraviolet, like violet light. So everything has this weird tint to it, and you can't see that far. But as far as you can see, there's this like mist rising from the marshlands.
So here's a question. As dawn comes up and I'm looking at the river from this tree, do I see anything under the water that looks like it would support a truck? Or do I see any structures that look like we could drive across it or ford it more easily?
Yeah, you can definitely see that because it's less. The dam seemed to force the river to get all wild after the dam. But before the dam, there's this, as I said, more like a marshland where there are several streams that form the Teal River. So you would assume that probably if you move even further north, you would find maybe a place to cross where the water is not that deep.
Gotcha. I will climb down and relay that information to everyone.
All right. And what do you say? I mean, how do people react to that?
I mean, it doesn't look like the best road, to be honest.
I don't feel like many people around here drive much, so road maintenance is probably not high on their list of priorities.
But just so we're clear, if we get stuck in the mud, I'm not pushing this on my own.
Who said anything about you pushing it on your own? And I just kind of gesture in Azure's direction, where I'm sure Azure's like doing inverted push-ups or like push-ups in a handstand or something.
Yeah, one arm and the other arm on the back.
Or like laying on the ground under the truck, bench pressing it then down.
Bench pressing the truck. So yeah, after the night in the truck on the flatbed, it's gotten pretty cold. You're all feeling a bit your muscles and bones. And you start the engine, drive north, and out of the violet twilight, you can see on your left three big structures, and they are like really big. They're described here as whale-like shapes, and they have this green patina. And I have a question for Saffron. You do feel some kind, like Saffron in particular, feels some kind of time distortion around these structures. How does that manifest? Is that something like your internal clock, or is it something actually in the landscape?
I like the notion that Saffron notices this because of the double brains in the cybernetic body. And like, it's like how if you take a magnet and you have the poles where like one end is a positive pole and one end is a negative pole, but in this case, it's from the other one. One brain is kind of, there's spatial separation between the two. And the effect of this time distortion affects one ever so slightly more than the other one. And it's like,
nice.
My thoughts bouncing between them have this weird Doppler effect.
Awesome. This is really good.
I can like turn my head and be like, wait, what?
And it is definitely a weird feeling. How does the others see that? How does that manifest on Saffron's, I don't know, behavior?
I mean, I keep turning my head, but I think also like I'm like reacting to stimulus in a weird way, where it's like,
and does And do the others react to that?
Neither. Do you ever think Saffron's a bit different since they came back as a prairie dog?
I mean,
I just look at you like they came back as a prairie dog. The fuck do you mean? Do they seem different? They're in a prairie dog body. Yes, of course they seem different. They're in.
I mean, is this normal for prairie dogs? I don't know. I've never really spent much time around them.
I mean, you'll have to forgive me. I didn't make camp with the wild prairie dogs of the Azure Plain for a year and a half, so I'm not exactly up on prairie dog customs. But Saffron does seem a little weird at the moment.
You're right, Saffron.
there's something. I think Saffron is like the words like come out strange, like stretched out in places.
Maybe like when you speak, it's got that same Doppler effect as your voice.
It's like
yeah.
Around here is the split. It's like it's pulling a brain more than the other. And I kind of vaguely gesture off in the direction of them, and I'm like, you don't feel this?
Feel what?
No. I mean, do you want to follow the feeling or go away from it?
I'm like, I think I try to start putting it together, like what is actually happening. And I'm like, I put one prairie dog hand up and another prairie dog hand up. And I like turn to be in line with it where, right hand is closer, left hand is further away. I'm like 1, 2, and I'm like using one brain to count with my right hand and one brain to count with my left hand.
I'm looking at Hamish like, is Saffron trying to play the piano in the air or something?
And it's like 1 second, 2 second, 3 second, and it's 1 second, 2 second, 3 second, like clearly. And I'm like, look at one hand, look at the other hand, and I'm like, like trying to piece together that like, oh, I just counted twice as fast with one hand than with the other hand, basically.
Is there any like doubling of your voice or anything? Like, any like some sort of delay, so it's almost like a reverb effect or something like that?
Yeah, potentially. Like I could see that coming out of, again, this like the effect of the split brain being.
So I think Hamish definitely just looks immensely confused and slightly amused at Saffron moving portions of their body completely independently of the other and out of sync by several, like a lag going across the whole thing.
It's patting your head and rubbing your stomach at the same time, but
with a high ping rate in between.
Yeah.
Hamish, I think something broke our prairie dog.
I think that Saffron is just like it.
That way? If you go that way?
No, it's not pleasant. Like Saffron's like,
not that way.
No.
All right. Like let's try and not go that way then.
But does that mean we should go that way?
No.
I mean, if we shouldn't go that way, that almost feels like we should go that way because there might be something there that we need to look into.
There is something there. It's just very unpleasant.
Well, what if it had something to do with the Greenlanders?
Listen. Now, I see where you're coming from, but Saffron's looking a wee bit worse for wear, to be honest. And
a bit green about the gills, even though prairie dogs aren't fish. Yeah.
Aye. And I'd rather, if we run into any trouble, that Saffron wasn't like half a body 10 steps behind.
Well, I mean, it looks like about half of Saffron is about 10 steps ahead. So,
hey, well, toss the draw then. But either way, I think maybe we'll give it a. We can see. Let's see what we see, and Saffron might, come out of it maybe.
So you have a decision to make because if you want to proceed on your on the road further north, you would have to pass these three gigantic structures. You could, try your luck where you are. The water is definitely not as wild and potentially not as deep as further downstream. Or you can return and try the dam.
If I mean, like in terms of the structures, is Saffron like incapacitated, or?
I don't think so. I think it's just like a really unpleasant high, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is a good description. Exactly. You don't have a control over it, and it is messing with your perception.
I think the second that Saffron explains it feels like I'm high but unpleasantly. Hamish like immediately relaxes and just goes, all right, all right, that's all right. I'll hold your hands, you poor sorry, and I'll stroke your fur, and it'll tell you it'll all be all right. And we'll just poodle on up there and maybe find somewhere a bit safer, and we can go. It's just all, you'll come down, it'll be fine. Don't worry. Got a lot of water here for you as well.
Look, somebody give me a pole. I'll start like trying to sound the river and see if we can figure out a better place to cross. Because
So do you walk into the river, or what is the plan?
I think at least in the short term, the plan is to only go farther north if we need to because of Saffron's reaction.
Mm-hmm.
But also not just to try to find a place that is shallow enough where we can drive the truck across without causing too much trouble.
Mm-hmm. And how do you do that?
That's what I was saying. It's like, somebody give me a pole. We've got to have a 10-foot pole around here, right?
Yeah.
Definitely. I mean, you have a lot of these packs, and half of them should have some kind of pole.
So, and I think we could just like to play into the setting a bit. Yeah, exactly. So something like I'm thinking like this is less of a pole that we're carrying around, but more of like an extensible baton, and you can just like kind of dial it to determine how much of it extends at any one time. So it's like a self-defense weapon, but also you can have like a 12-foot pole if you need to start to become a pole vaulter for some reason.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And I think I'm probably wading into the river up to about my knees or so, maybe a little bit farther. Certainly no deeper than my like mid-thigh, and poking at the river to find out whereabouts we can try to cross.
Yeah, you would definitely say that where you are at the moment is not a good place to cross because you almost immediately you sink in up to your hips, and when you poke the ground, it's really like deep and muddy.
I think everybody can see that and know without me saying anything, this ain't it, Chief.
Hamish strokes Saffron and goes like, "It'll be all right, no worries."
So the wet Nida climbs back into the car. Austin starts it, and when you drive further north and you get closer to these structures, I think Nida, because you're very what's it called? Attentive, is that a word? Like you perceive
attentive.
Well.
Yeah.
Attentive person. You do see these time distortion effects, in the real world, in the landscape. How does it manifest for you?
Oh, that's easy. I mean, we're talking about like a marshy area, so we're looking at reeds and we're looking at other marshland type vegetation, but we feel the wind, and none of the marsh grasses and reeds are moving in concert with the wind.
Nice.
Like, so we'll feel like there'll be a gust of wind and none of them will react, and then the wind dies down, and then all of a sudden they're blowing in the direction that the wind would have pushed them. So we can all clearly see in the environment, based on how things are changing, that something weird is going on here.
And when you're almost at the you're at the same level of these 3 structures, I would like Saffron to make a saving throw.
All right. Is this a mental thing or a physical thing?
But there's just this is definitely a mental thing.
Okay, good. Because I get +2. That's an 11. And my saving throw is a 10.
Nice. Isn't it? Oh no, this is not
it's
the
below. Yeah, it's the other way around. The white hack.
Yes. Or you know, old school D&D is always over. Yeah, but this is okay. So, let's see. I think that these, like, you have almost as the way you already described this. You have a thought, but the thought is pinged to the other brain and then pinged back to your first brain. And so, Hamish and Nida, you can see that Saffron is kind of ODing. They are overdosing on their time drug.
I look over at Azia. You're a bad influence.
Was me.
So, just out of curiosity, does that mean that Saffron has tried a drug and gets experience for it?
I would almost certainly say yes.
Okay.
There's
environmental hallucinogens. Awesome.
Yes. And for you, like how it feels for you, Saffron, I don't know if you have a good idea about, like, there must be some kind of recurrence. I don't know if you relive the same, like, 5 minutes over and over again, or how do you feel trapped in this time loop?
Yeah, I think it gets there. I think like the initial ramp up is like I try to move and I feel the action that I tried to send to do triggers multiple times in these, like, this echoing pattern where it's like, oh, I want to move my finger. It goes 1, and then a little bit later, 1, 1, and then a little later it's like, and so I'm just like, outside it just kind of looks like I'm just like shivering.
Yeah.
Or like manically like tapping myself. But mentally it's that, like, the overload of processing everything in this delayed loop. And it's like I can't filter the thoughts and the sensations and like the coherence of my perception is just like falling apart.
Oh, yes, some kind of decoherence almost. Cool. And I don't know. I assume that you move on. The other two, Austin's wants to keep going. He looks over at Saffron and even tries to accelerate, but the muddy terrain makes it difficult to speed past a certain point.
Yeah, I reckon the quicker we're through here, the better.
I just want to make sure it's not hurting Saffron if we go farther north to try to find a better place to ford.
Yeah, well, it would, like, at a certain stage, you will pass these 3 structures that you assume are the source of the time dilation.
Okay, let me know if this is too far out there. I want to actually get onto the roof of the truck and pull out my rifle and use the scope to see if I can see a better place to ford.
I mean, you could, like, what would you look for? Like, what? That is me as not an outdoorsy person, what would give away that the water is more shallow at a place, from afar?
When you're looking for a place to ford, you usually want to see something resembling land under the water, not too far, or at least not too far under it. So you'd be looking to see, because you see this all the time in creeks and streams and whatnot. You'll see places where the water is shallower, and it may sometimes be a little bit rougher because it's going, suddenly there's this rise up in the ground underneath it. But that also can mean that it's a little bit easier to cross.
So I don't think that you would be able to see underwater. The water looks like paint almost. It's just this, I think it's called cerulean.
Cerulean, yeah.
Color. And secondly, it's from afar. You can't even cerulean, exactly. You could even through completely transparent water, I don't think you could see through it. But I think that you could look out for land sticking out of the water at different places, and assume that it's less deep there. The water,
or at least see stuff poking out. It might be trees, it might be rocks or something.
Exactly.
So do I need to roll for that, or?
I don't think so either. There is, and you do see that through your scope with your training and everything that maybe 15 minutes by auto wagon further north, which will be past these 3 whales, but not far enough to be outside of the effect.
Well, we'd better get up there as quickly as possible then.
And so you reach the fort, and let's see. I think Austin's is still driving. He's very carefully, very slowly driving into the river where Nida pointed out he should do. And so you have the feeling. So first of all, the car really sinks in pretty deeply. I assume that you're all inside of the car.
God, no. You want to have as little weight as possible inside the vehicle.
You step out?
Yeah. I mean, I'm assuming that Saffron kind of has to be in the car, because otherwise, I don't think Saffron's going to be fording this on their own. But
probably
no,
not.
this is, I've got stuff on my back. Hamish should have stuff on his back. Azure should have stuff on her back.
I guess we're kind of walking alongside the car, right? Every now and again having to sort of push slightly to sort of lift it across.
And also kind of mapping, here's where you drive for Austin's. If you hit me or bump me with the fender, it's no, that's not the right way to do this.
We're all completely spattered in mud as well. That iridescent armor is now flecked with dirt all over it.
So what you could do is you could press on, so to speak, try to cross the river as quickly as possible, or you take your time. Crossing mechanically crossing the river quickly would mean you get there on the other side by noon, when when the sun actually breaks through. And it's the river here is this underwater marshland, which is really pretty vast. But you would have to roll you make a misfortune test, or it will take the whole day. The way you describe it seems that you take your time, your sweet time.
I'm thinking
Sounds better.
that it makes more sense to be slow, steady, and careful. There are times to be reckless, but a river is fording a river is not one of them.
So we have this small vignettes, as Will described. So you're sometimes the truck is stuck. You need to push it. Sometimes the wheels turn and it splatters mud all over you. And about at noon, Saffron, the effects, they get weaker and weaker until you can actually think normal again. And when the sun goes down, you reach the other side of this muddy landscape, and you can actually pick out where the road on the other side actually continues. Do you drive on? Do you make camp? How do you react?
Stay into the day, kind of sundown.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't want to do this in the dark. Because we still actually have to ford the river at some point, don't we? Like, to get fully across.
No, you are actually now.
Oh, that was during the drive across the marshlands. Yes. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but who knows then? If we've made it across to some sort of thing, then even better, frankly.
Mm-hmm.
I'm figuring we're all probably tired and could use the rest from trying to ford it and pushing this truck and whatnot.
Yeah, I would assume so as well, that everybody is pretty exhausted, even Austin's, who just drove.
Saffron's like, I feel a little fuzzy, but...
You looked stoned off your face.
I think I'm good.
Yeah, like I'd say you're out of your... You're pushing tomorrow.
So is Saffron, taking the watch all night then?
All right, at least I think it slowly dawns on Saffron what happened. Like, oh, yeah, okay, I'll take some extra watch shifts.
Cool. And then, you're all wet and you're all muddy, but there's no real... do you try to get clean or dry? Is there a campfire?
I think it's definitely a fire. I can't really imagine we're heading towards another river. I'm assuming that that's going to be a better place to get clean, but at least we can get warm and dry, right? Like...
Saffron can help start a fire if you gather some kindling.
I'm curious. Does Saffron groom like a prairie dog?
There's probably some latent prairie dog instinct triggers. When Saffron isn't thinking about things, start picking at fur and tending
using extensible legs to scratch your ear.
No part I can't reach. It's very nice.
I'm curious. I would be curious to see what happens if Nida scratches behind the ears, even if Saffron can reach it.
I respect Saffron, and Saffron may be in the body of a prairie dog, but I would not. It would feel disrespectful to do that without at least asking permission first.
Respecting personal space. I like that.
Yes, even if Saffron is indeed cute as a button.
If you did do it, I think that would warrant a saving throw. Which, just so you know, and I forgot this on the last one, so I failed the roll twice as hard as I currently still have disadvantage on mental rolls.
Yes, that is true.
Because half of one of my brains is obsessed with Vickers speech right now. So I would fail that very hard if you Just so you know, if you did.
And then it's like a spontaneous eruption of the laser eyes or something. Could happen. Who knows? All right. So there's nothing happening during the night. Saffron is keeping watch, keeping you safe. You do, Saffron, see during the night, like out of the water, sometimes there are these gigantic lumbering turtles that stick their heads out, snap at something, and then disappear again. So the next day you travel, and during the day, the marshland actually extends more or less. It is like this gigantic valley. And you travel the whole day without really coming across anything special. It's that the marshland becomes even more like vegetated, if that is a word. So there's these willow trees. There are these weird half phantom birches. Neither, what does that mean? What is a half phantom birch?
Really quick, Abe just messaged me and wants to know if there'd be any issue if he popped in for the last hour or so.
No, that's totally fine. Cool.
And then you can tell that they're half phantom birches because it's almost like there's an echo of the tree, like, you know, the allegory of the cave where you see things on the cave wall. It's like seeing things on the cave wall at the same time that you're actually looking at the thing in question, the actual thing. So it's like you're seeing the thing and its allegorical shadow simultaneously, just like a half step out of sync with its vibrational frequencies, for lack of a better way to put it.
And then after, you know, this is the vegetation, and when you actually reach the wine river, you can see. I don't know if you know these formations. They're called causeway. Do you know what that means? It's monolithic, like stone things that are in steps. Let's see. There's these great blocks of pure cinnamon stone that form a megalithic causeway. And some of them are fallen to the wayside. And the actual river, let's see, the wine river. The wine river gets its name from the dark burgundy gravel of its bed. So I assume that the water is pretty transparent. You can see the gravel on the bed. So in the evening, the dying light of the day, you reach the actual wine river, and from where you can where you are, you can see that there's a little bit upriver. There's this campfire and a couple of tents. There's this causeway along the shore, and it goes a bit down. Then you can see the actual beach, if you will, which is this wine, burgundy gravel, and then the actual river, which is a massive river. And I would also say that if you like, get to the shore and you look down, you can actually see the wrecks of the Greenlander caravan. What do you do?
Scavenge for parts.
Loot the place.
Definitely scout what's happened to these Greenlanders, you know, and are there any survivors, etc. You know.
So from where you are, the scouting, do you go down there or have like a look? So I can describe the scenery. If you want to get any more information, you would either go down or, you know, make a roll or something. It looks as if the two of these wagons have actually crashed in the river trying to cross it. So they're in the river. They're like the top is still visible. And then you see 5 other of these wagons, and they're completely intact, and they seem to be abandoned. That's what you see.
Let's get down there and check it out.
Yeah, I'd like to go down there on foot, check out the abandoned wagons, with Thingy in the car still, the NPC.
Yeah, Orson's is in the car.
I think Saffron is like, Nida, this is maybe a good time for your fancy rifle.
Oh, this is absolutely a good time for the rifle.
You know what?
I'm already on Overwatch.
Yeah.
I don't understand why Austin's is still in the car. I mean, this is what he came for. So
I could throw an oracle this way too, see if I can pull anything out of what happened. So if you guys want to go down and check out, you can go do that, and I can stay up here and do the oracle, or you can wait till I'm done, which it only takes like 5 minutes. So whatever.
I mean, I'd like to wait up with you and Austin's, because I think the two of us should be up there on Overwatch just in case you need any fire, or you need any like cover fire or anything like that, while Saffron and Hamish check out the wreckage.
Dig through stuff, yeah.
Yeah, so you've got like 2 snipers up on, you know, like higher up, plus Azure doing an oracle.
Yes. So while Azure is preparing the oracle, Hamish and Saffron, you get down, and you can climb or look inside the wagons. The wagons themselves, they are picked clean, which means there's no there's no trading goods. There don't seem to be any like personal objects. You can see in the vicinity, like a little bit down river, there is what looks like a like almost like a sewage tunnel, pretty big thing that descends into like underground in a slight what's it called, a ramp or something going down. Incline, thank you. And neither through the scope, I mean, you don't see the tunnel. I mean, can you make a wisdom check with advantage?
For us that are scoping out on the ground?
Sure. Yes. 2 and an 8, both under my wisdom of, what is my wisdom? 10.
Yes. And Saffron?
Sure, 1 second.
For you, it will obviously with disadvantage because it's a math check.
That's an 11 and a 4, which are both under my wisdom. So
nice. So you both spot that there is some kind of. So first of all, near the tunnel that goes down, there seems to be like artificial hills. So somebody like erected a hill out of these gravel stones, which looks like, it doesn't look like a natural natural thing. And you can also see like a pipe. Again, it looks almost like a pipe from a canalization or something that leads straight down, and it is about, I don't know, like a stone throw away from the tunnel, and it's in the water, so that the pipe is sticking out and leading down. And Azure, what do you want information about?
I want to figure out. I want to see if I can figure out what happened to the caravan.
Yes. So I don't know what the wording of the oracle is. It's not. I thought it was about the future, isn't it?
Oh yeah, you're right.
I have a suggestion about that. Perhaps it's a glimpse into the future where we find the caravans. Or like what happens if we go down the tunnel.
Yeah, something like that.
That kind of thing.
Or how about, I don't know, I might be rules lawyering a bit here, but how about my oracle that what happens after we find out what happened to the caravan? So I get a fucking sneak peek now.
So yeah, you want to see the fate of the caravan in the future, so to speak. Is that fair?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm putting the lens on us. Like, I want to see what happens when, fucking Fred unmasks the monster, and it has to be Farmer Diggs or something like that. You know what I mean? So
yeah. So you are underground, you Azure, and you're alone. And you can see before you there's like this luminescent moss or something on the walls, and in the light of the moss you can see 6 pools, and in the pools there like in 2 of them there's these shapes sitting, and there's a kid that comes out of the dark, and she puts her finger on her mouth, and she said, "Shh."
Is she looking at me?
She's looking at you, and she. So Azure, what gives away that she is a devotee? Like her parents obviously raised her in the cockflower religion. Which is this money religion.
Right. What is the tell?
Yeah. Well, how can you tell that she's?
I think that followers of that religion, they wear like bracelets and anklets that have like gold coins attached to them. So when they walk, they jingle. I mean, maybe that's for kids. I don't know if that might throw off everything for adults, but but the kids all wear these bangles that have, they're not. I don't know if they're real gold or not, but or whatever the coin of the kingdom is, But the idea is that they're always walking around in riches, and maybe they wear like big, or wear like a lot of chains and things like that.
Like rappers?
No, more like I'm thinking more like in India, they wear a lot of bangles and things like that. Like more like that.
And I think that you actually heard before the girl appeared, you heard the dangling of the coins, and then she comes out of the dark and says, "Shh."
And so, what's in the pools? Are they just empty pools? I mean, not empty, but there's nothing.
Yeah, yeah. Before your vision dissipates, you can see that there are like 2 figures sitting in 2 of these pools. They have elongated heads and like really thin, long arms, and I would say that you can see some kind of biomechanical infection in them.
Now, are they like humans that have just like, I mean, Are they like what are those things? Aliens from Alien, xenomorphs or whatever? Are they like that?
More like xenomorphs, elongated head, no discernible face. They don't have the weird, crazy jaw.
Okay, and then they've got weird arms, long arms.
Yes, very long arms.
Huh. And I've never heard of these before or seen of them before.
Actually, you don't. I think you maybe heard Nida mentioning something on the beach of Iron Pike, on the the old Isle. That she saw something.
Is that those like zombie guys that we met on the island? Or
no, not the ash eaters. They were like half human at least.
Okay.
These are the things that came out of the water to kidnap the people?
Yes.
Oh, did I not see that? Oh no, I was partying. Right. Okay.
you came, you went there, but then the creatures were already gone.
Right. Okay, that's cool. Okay, so I'll come out of my trance. And Nida and Hamish are nearby.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think after we've scoped out, me and Saffron probably go back up and tell you all that tunnel cleared out kind of thing. There's no sign of them.
All right. Well, I communicate to the team what my vision was about how I saw. What's that cult called? The Cog.
Cogflower Church.
Yeah, the Cogflower Church. I saw
bosses for the caravan that we just ignore now and take the money whenever.
Right. Yeah, I know that they're running our caravan for us, or they're sponsoring.
We just haven't happened to come across another outpost of the church, so we can't make donations yet.
Also, we're doing so well that we deserve bonuses. Cogflowers can understand that.
Absolutely. Well, I communicate that I saw in my vision. I saw like what was I like in a cave or something like that?
Yeah, it looked it looked more civilized than a cave, more like a mine or something.
Underground, though.
Mm-hmm. All right, so I communicate the vision that I had, and that there was like a Cogflower kid in this thing, and there was these pools, and there was there were these strange creatures with elongated heads and long arms. I've never seen anything like it before. They were pretty freaky. They didn't have faces, and so I don't know.
They don't have faces. Then where will we shoot them?
Everywhere. That's what grenades are for faceless things.
Well,
Azure isn't wrong.
If they... It sounds like they're down there underground, and I see one place to go underground around here. And it's either that or leave whoever's left down there.
Well, I mean, we came out all the way out here to, see what happened. And they're kids,
Aye.
So let's get the grenades and go kill some faceless shit.
Maybe be a bit careful with the grenades, though, given that there are kids down there. Like.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's go. I got a sawed off, so I'm good.
Yeah.
And I just tool up with my bandolier of grenades and knives, and guns.
Mm-hmm. So just to make sure you remember that there are actually two ways to go down. You don't know. There's this pipe in the water that goes down, and then there's the tunnel.
Oh, I thought they were the same thing. Sorry.
Is there any water in this pipe? Is the pipe protruding enough out of the water that there's no water that goes in, or is it kind of like a water slide?
No. It's definitely sticking out like a meter or so above the surface of the water. So you go to the tunnel, take all your guns with you. You keep the truck, up on the street, on the road.
Yeah, I mean that'd be my vote rather than attempt anything with the pipe. I feel like the pipe's kind of beyond our particular skill sets, and we're rolling heavy. You know what I mean? Like heavy loaded.
I wish we had somebody to guard the truck.
Austin's.
I'm going in.
Yeah, Austin's. Are you kidding me? This is the entire reason Austin's came with us.
What about Vigo?
Vigo's not
the rest of the caravan, as is Babette
Oh,
and
right.
Golems and.
Actually, you have obviously Ajax, and you have the nameless animatronic bear.
Oh, then we'll just leave it with a bear. Yeah, we'll leave it with a bear.
I'll give the bear for riches.
Have you given the bear a name yet?
Hold on a second. Do you know
bear name generator?
Does the bear have a gender?
Not discernible.
What are you thinking of, Abe?
There's this animatronic bear that's like was a Chuck E. Cheese competitor.
Yeah.
Its name is Billy Bob.
The off-brand Chuck E. Cheese.
I didn't realize there was an off-brand Chuck E. Cheese. That sounds terrifying.
I was also thinking about the Country Bear Jamboree at Disneyland. But
we had an off-brand Chuck E. Cheese where I was growing up. It was bizarre.
What was it called?
Circus Pizza.
Oh, I put it in the chat. He's hilarious. I think he would make a great animatronic bear, but it's up to you.
That sounds
okay.
What
about the name?
I want that bear. Definitely that bear. 100%.
Oh, showbiz.
Well, they don't have to be named Billy Bob, but I think this is now canon that this is the bear.
Oh, that's absolutely the bear. Otis?
Otis, it is.
Yeah.
And Otis says, yes.
Its eyes blinking mechanically out of time.
Yeah. Very slowly.
Down into the tunnel, I think. Going full on bug hunt, alien style.
All right. So the tunnel itself is wide enough to actually theoretically go with like even three PCs next to each other, and so Azure, you see the luminescent moss that is smeared on the wall. So you do think that you are on the right track, and the tunnel leads down for maybe 15-20 meters. And then you can see that the tunnel opens up into a big room, and across the room the tunnel goes further down. What do you do?
I think we should fan out and keep an eye out for traps and what have you. You know, knuckleheads, etc., etc. But I'm not the boss. I'm just saying. It's my suggestion.
Should we split up?
I'm glad you can see my T-shirt on the camera. It's a band.
Yeah. Should we split up? Maybe. Like, I know splitting the party is a terrible idea, but just as a sort of like one of us check out one way, one of us check out the other, and then.
Is there anything we see? I mean, you said we emerge into a cavern. Is there anything we see right off the bat?
Yeah, I mean, if you actually go to the end of the tunnel and step into the cavern, definitely you can see that there are like it is considerably warmer where you are now than it was at the beach. You also all have light sources, I think. Abe checked like the glowing thing. And you can see that there are like the silvery vats, VAT, about a dozen of them. There are like pretty disgusting looking fleshy tubes running from the vats deeper into, like to the left, deeper into the cavern that you cannot completely oversee. And then that you can see the tunnel that goes on the other side of the cannon, of the tunnel to south. Assuming that you are north.
I cast Magic Mouth.
Magic Mouth?
No, I'm kidding. You don't know that from D&D? That's like 101.
I know what a Magic Mouth is from the
okay.
basic set.
I don't have that skill. I was just kidding.
Okay.
I thought it was a Bard's Tale joke for a second.
None of this looks familiar to Azure yet, does it? As yet, directly.
No.
Just
is there any way of looking for like tracks or anything like that?
Yeah, definitely. You can like search the floor or maybe even the walls for any kind of tracks that like dragging marks or something.
Yeah. I think in particular be looking for like a child's like tracks, for example. Mm-hmm. So we know that there's a child or we suspect that there's a child down there.
Yeah.
Dragged people tracks.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, yeah. I mean, obviously, if we're looking for a child's tracks and we just see dragged people's tracks, we don't go, forget it.
We would look somewhere else. So I think if you would see something obvious, I would just tell you. So if you want to see something really hidden, you would have to make a wisdom check.
Sure. Our prairie dog. I hear prairie dogs are good at hunting. They also have a 15 in wisdom.
It is true.
And they're completely distracted by like a subroutine running wild in its brain.
Even with disadvantage, a 15 is pretty decent.
But that is true. So Saffron is looking for any signs of maybe the victims.
Yeah, anything that looks like, because I think right now Saffron's working theory is maybe the people from the caravan like gathered all of their stuff and hid down in the cave or something.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see. Yeah, I can see how this goes. Okay, that's a 14 and a 14. So even with disadvantage, that's under.
Nice. Awesome. You actually find with your cybernetic eyes, you can see a shape next to like it was pretty much hidden behind one of these containers, these beds, and there's like a white big shell that where one of the shoulders stick out behind the container. It looks almost like a gigantic crab or something. Crab would be, but it's not moving. And then when you pan your eyes around, you also spot a toy. Saffron, what is it? What kind of toy do you find?
I think it's just a little doll, but I think the idea that Saffron gets is that it's some connection to Greenlanders.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's like maybe a straw doll.
Yeah.
Like really simple and probably made by a child and maybe not even because you know how religious people are about, you know, idolizing things. So it might even be that the kid hid it from its parents. Yeah, but it's lying. It's lying on the ground, and it lies a little bit to the east, deeper in the cavern. You know, south there's another tunnel, and the cavern extends further to the east.
To the east, then, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Follow where we found the doll, and
yeah, you.
Do we want to check out that crab, or do we just want to? And if we've got to get out of here in a hurry,
I think sleeping dogs. You know, if it's not fucking with us, we should probably just get the kids and try to get the hell out.
oh, is that a dead crab? I was about to just say, no, Hamish just goes over and kicks it.
Mm-hmm.
But no, if it looks like it's alive, then yeah.
You've got the fancy sword out, ready to go.
Oh yeah.
So are you moving like in quiet mode, more like the sneaky approach? Is that what I'm hearing?
I'm trying to be quiet.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We've got the Hulk coming up behind us, of course. So however quiet we are is however quiet Azure can be.
Azure can be really quiet if she wants to.
Yeah. That's what's even really, really creepy. Like, you look like a bodybuilder, but you move like a cat.
Poised to strike.
So you move further to the east. You can see to the south that there is stairs leading down, and a little bit further down, you can further to the east, you can see the wall. And there is a tunnel leading to the north and a tunnel leading to the south.
So we've got north and south, and what was it?
Stairs.
It's just north, south, and stairs.
Yeah, more like a ramp, like really, really, what I call it, these not very steep steps, but wide steps.
They're going down.
Yes.
I'd like to use. I'm not sure whether it'd fall under Yellowlander or the Legion of the Farsight, but I'd like to try to figure out if I can see tracks, like humanoid tracks or sign leading in any of these directions.
Mm-hmm. So the floor looks suspiciously clean, but you know there can always be I don't know, blood splatters or something. Obviously.
Well, suspiciously clean in one direction would be kind of a dead giveaway that somebody was cleaning up the tracks.
Mm-hmm.
Tidy monsters.
Well, they may not be monsters. I mean, we don't know what we're dealing with here. I don't want to assume that it's necessarily hostile. But what would you want me to roll for that, or?
Yeah, that would be like finding something really hidden in the like twilight. It's definitely.
I think that's wisdom, or?
Yeah, that is wisdom.
Okay. That is a 5 under 10, also a 15. So
I think you can see drag marks leading from the north tunnel to the south tunnel.
Okay.
Well, it's heading towards the south tunnel, so whatever was dragged from the north to the south wasn't dragged back out that way. So south, I think, you know, wherever. What any direction is as good as another. This one's got the most pointing towards it.
Just make sure you've got weapons ready.
Always.
Yep. Do you guys want me to take point because I have a sawed off? I don't want to shoot anybody. Standing behind you all, I'd probably pepper you with buckshot.
Why don't you walk alongside me? Because between the two of us, we have, a pretty broad area of effect with our weapons.
All right. Sounds good.
And besides, at least this way, we're not going to be shooting Hamish. He can just, impale us as he stabs somebody else.
Yeah.
Right, Hamish? Remember Lurid Pines?
I remember your Lurid Pines, of course.
What's that, Roman formation?
The great folk guy who kind of got in the way of your sword and a hamster?
I don't know what you're talking about. He died a hero.
And I just kind of grin at Hamish because it's just...
So you can also see that like these fleshy cables, they kind of bundle in the south tunnel along the wall. And once in a while, there's like a splurging noise from one of the vats. And then the fleshy tube is bulging a little bit and something is moving along to the south. And where you go to is warmer still, warmer than the room that you are in. And it's a very short tunnel. And I think you can see movement. What do you do?
I want to use my scope to see if I can make out what the movement is.
Mm-hmm. It is it looks as if it's a human with a very rudimentary face. So it's not one of these creepy creatures with an elongated face, but they have similarities. They have the same like unusually long limbs, but they have a more human face. It's one of them that you see, and they seem to stand around rather disoriented. And not, yeah, well, they're moving slowly, let's say, but not purposeful.
Is this a grenade moment?
No, let's.
No, those are loud. We want to stay quiet.
These could be the caravanners, though.
If they're caravanners, they've been melted. I mean, look at that face.
I know, but like we should find out what's going on here before we. I mean, I know like kill them all and let God sort them out. It's usually my approach, but normally I've got a bit more to go on than this.
I agree with you. We shouldn't be killing anything just yet. We shouldn't be using grenades. But I'm just saying, if that's one of the caravanners, they're.
But we don't know how far. No, but maybe they're not that far gone.
Did they have biomechanical corruption signs? Like the guys we saw in the pool. I saw in the pool.
Yeah, the guy that you saw in the pool, they had. Well, I asked Nida what kind of biomechanical corruption sites they had.
I think it's subcutaneous circuitry that started like at the base of the neck, and you can gradually see it growing outward. Like if you're looking behind if they weren't wearing clothes and you were looking, you'd see this circuitry slowly creeping down. Mm-hmm. Their arms, their back, their chest, toward the legs. But it's almost like there was some sort of implant, like at the base of the neck, to kind of hack into to interrupt whatever signals are being sent from the brain to the rest of the body.
And these, so the humanoid that you see, they have some kind of, it doesn't look like a biomechanical corruption, rather than some kind of biological mutation. They have like from their jawline, outside of the jaw, there's some kind of glands.
Well, how about you cover me and I'll see if they're friendly? And they're probably not.
Look at the size of those glands.
Yeah. I mean, can we sneak past them?
You can definitely try. So that if you go a little bit further and look around the corner, you can see that there's in the middle of the room, which is a bit smaller than the room that you just emerged from, there is something that looks suspiciously like the production floor of Saffron, of Johnny 7. So there is, like, you remember the birth canal that Johnny 7 had with a fleshy flap? There's like a machine in the middle of the room. There are all the tubes end there, and the fleshy machine is also like convulsing in a rather disgusting way. And you can also see, like, when you look around, two others of these humanoids. But the two that you're that not standing in the room are actually on the machine. And then you can see two other tunnels. You could try to sneak past the one to the tunnel that's leaving west. But it would be difficult to sneak past the machine and the two others to what you think is a tunnel that leads to the east.
Can we see any signs of drag marks to either tunnel?
I think because you actually made the roll really well, you can see that the drags mark end in the machine. It was whatever was dragged towards the machine.
God damn it.
Not a good sign.
Well, we either go back and check out every other route, or I go and find out if these guys have got any answers, and we blow them all to hell if they don't want to speak to us.
Austin's,
yes.
Which target do you want?
My target is finding these Greenlanders.
Yes, but what I'm saying is if Hamish finds out that the people in this room are unfriendly, which one are you going to shoot? So I know which one to shoot.
I shoot the left one on the machine.
All right. I'll take right. And we set up in firing positions ready.
Hamish? Saffron?
Yeah. Well, Saffron's got laser eyes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I will go with my mighty 10 in charisma and see what's occurring.
And in fairness, I think you are the most charismatic of us. Oh wait, Azure is by a hair.
But I will go. I think after everyone's set up, I think Hamish, cautiously approaches up until this point where he sort of like can just walk down with the sword, kind of, in his hand, but down, and just walk in like clearly and just say like, "All right then, lads, how's it going?"
The humanoid turns around, and you can see. I said that they are faceless. They do have a mouth, and the mouth opens, and what comes out is the sound of a modem. It's like an old school an old school what's it called? Yes, modem.
A dial-up, yeah.
Yeah, dial-up. That's what I was looking for. You can see their glands swelling, though.
Start backing up and go, have you seen a little girl? Any friends of mine? Hand up to be like, get ready to shoot them.
And there's just more gibberish coming out, but now like obviously in a state of stress. And the other two on the machine, they react to it, and they there's like for a split second a back and forth, but there doesn't seem to be like a consorted action. But the creature in front of you sprays you with some kind of acid goo.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
I open up.
So you would have to make a saving throw.
Sure. Which is what on my sheet?
The SD.
ST. Okay. I don't have a high ST. But I make it.
Nice. So how do you avoid the spray?
I think as the spray comes out, the sword just flashes, and it's like the space around it just, the fractal blade like like swallows it up from reality.
Nice. Yeah. So it expands a bit the fractal blade and just burns the acid from the air. And I think we like. Is that a good point to maybe call it a night?
Unless you think we can finish it in 4 minutes' time.
I
feel like.
Shall we? Yeah, I think this is a fight ensuing, and you know how these D&D fights are; they can get pretty messy, and so.
Can I cast Magic
Mouth? So what I want to say is how this session ends while the fractal blade is burning the acid. We go to a completely different place for a second for our season finish, and it's we are in like a pyramid, and there is this black creature with like it just has one eye. It has this black almost metal armor, one red glowing eye, and there's a projection, like a 3D hologram or something, showing the Redlander truck that you're driving with, and there are the 4 or 5 vial organ parts, these spheres. And when the creature looks at the hologram, in the actual Redlander truck, the vial parts move.